The morning sun streams through my apartment windows, casting golden rectangles across the fabric swatches spread over my coffee table. I've been up since 5, arranging color palettes for the Henderson Project soft creams against muted blues, textures that invite touch without demanding it. My phone buzzes against the glass tabletop, the screen lighting up with Mom and a photo from 3 Christmases ago. My stomach tightens as I answer. "Hey, Mom." "Tessa, darling." Her voice carries that careful brightness that always makes me brace myself. "How are you, sweetheart?" "Good." I tuck the phone between my ear and shoulder, arranging the swatches in a perfect fan. "Just finalizing some client presentations. Is everything set for Dad's birthday?" "I was thinking of driving down Thursday instead of Friday, if that helps with anything." A pause. Too long. "About the party?" Mom says, her voice shifting to what I recognize as her garden club tone, polite, measured, used when declining unsuitable new members. "We've had to trim the guest list a bit." My fingers freeze on a swatch of herringbone linen. "Trim the guest list?" "Yes. Well, your father decided he wants something more business-focused. You know how he is turning 65 is making him think about legacy and company direction. The implication hangs between us. I am not part of that legacy or direction." "I see." My voice comes out steady, a skill perfected at Sunday dinners where I've learned to swallow disappointment with my pot roast. "So, are Miles and Chloe still invited?" Another pause, this one heavy with the answer I already know. "Well, yes." Mom's voice drops slightly. "But honey, they're involved in the company, and there'll be investors, and—" A shuffling sound comes through the phone, then my father's voice cuts in, sharp and impatient. "Let's be honest, Tess. This isn't your scene. The party will be all business talk that would bore you to tears." "Dad, Miles or Chloe will be running things someday. That's just how it is." His tone softens into what he probably thinks is kindness. "You've got your little design thing. We're proud of that. But this party is about and Sons' future. Monroe and Sons. The name that's always excluded me. Printed on business cards in downtown buildings and the massive stone entrance to our family estate. A constant reminder of my place or lack of it." I understand. The words taste like copper in my mouth. After terse goodbyes, I set my phone down. Screen against the table so I don't have to see Mom's face looking up at me. I walk to my bedroom closet, pushing aside clothes until I find the small fire safe tucked in the back corner. Inside sits a small velvet pouch containing a single key and a receipt for $55,000, 3 years of careful saving, extra projects, nights spent drafting designs while friends went on vacations. The Range Rover sits in Jade's garage across town, wrapped in a giant bow. Dad's dream car in his favorite midnight blue, waiting to be presented to him on his birthday. The perfect gift to finally show him I was worthy of being a Monroe, even without following his prescribed path. I stare at the receipt until the numbers blur. If I'm not important enough to attend, he's not important enough for this gift. My fingers tremble as I dial Jade's number. "What's wrong?" she answers on the second ring, knowing me too well to bother with hello. "They uninvited me." My voice cracks despite my efforts. "To Dad's birthday, Miles and Chloe are still going, just not me." "Those absolute—" Jade cuts herself off. "What are you going to do?" I look down at the key in my palm, the weight of it suddenly different. "The Range Rover," I whisper. "I think I'm keeping it." "Good." Jade's voice hardens with protective fury. "If they don't want you at the table, show them what they're missing." That night, I spread maps across my coffee table, tracing coastal California roads with my fingertip. I cancel my Napa Valley hotel reservation, the place I'd booked to stay after Dad's party. Instead, I plot a route along beaches and cliffs, through redwood forests and wine country. I removed the giant bow from the Range Rover, sliding it onto my own keyring instead. The symbolism isn't subtle, but then, neither was my father's dismissal. Time to drive my own road. I whisper to the empty apartment, the words somehow both terrifying and exhilarating. After 27 years of trying to earn a seat at the Monroe table, I'm finally walking away from it. The Range Rover's engine purrs as we pull out of Austin just as the sun cracks open the horizon. Jade adjusts her camera settings, capturing the pink-orange glow washing over the midnight blue paint. My hands grip the steering wheel, knuckles no longer white with tension but relaxed, like I've been driving this car my whole life instead of just the past 12 hours. Look at you, Jade says, lowering her camera. Every mile, your face changes. I glance in the rearview mirror. My eyes look different, somehow clearer, more focused. The permanent crease between my eyebrows has softened. I barely recognize myself. My phone buzzes against the console. Mother. Then Miles. Then Chloe. 3 text notifications in a row, like a coordinated attack. Are you coming to the office today? From Miles. Mom's worried. Call her. From Chloe. Darling, please respond. I'm concerned. From Mother. No mention of the uninvitation. No acknowledgement of yesterday's conversation. I silence the phone and toss it into the center console. West it is. 3 days and 400 miles later, we stand at an overlook in Carmel by the sea. The Pacific stretches endless and blue below us. The Range Rover parked at a perfect angle, with the coastline curving behind it. Jade circles the vehicle, her photographer's eye finding compositions I would never see. Stand by the driver's door, she directs. Look out at the ocean, not at me. I lean against the car, one hand resting on the mirror. The California breeze lifts my hair, and for once, I don't try to control it. Perfect, Jade murmurs, the camera shutter clicking rapidly. This is the one. That night in our hotel room, I scroll through the photos she's taken. One stops my finger cold me beside the Range Rover. Profile turned toward the ocean. Eyes bright with something that looks suspiciously like freedom. The sunset casts golden light across my face and turns the car's paint to sapphire. This is it, I say, holding up the phone. This is the one. Jade nods, understanding immediately. The question is, what are you going to say? I stare at the image for long minutes, composing words in my head, deleting them, starting over. My thumb hovers over the screen. Finally, I type. This was supposed to be a gift. But when you're not invited to the table, maybe you should drive away instead. My heart pounds as I attach the photo. One deep breath, and I press share. Notifications ping immediately. My college roommate. Holy hell, Tess. My assistant. You look incredible. A design colleague. Their loss is California's gain. You're glowing. Did you block your family? Jade asks, watching the comments roll in. No, I answer quietly. I want them to see it. 20 minutes later, my phone rings. Mother. I let it go to voicemail. Tessa Elizabeth Monroe. Her voice begins, confusion giving way to controlled anger with each word. What exactly do you think you're doing? That car was? That Robert's birthday gift? Call me immediately. The texts follow. Chloe. Dad is furious. What were you thinking posting that? The Andersons saw it and called Mom. Miles. Take that down now. You're embarrassing the family and damaging our reputation. Dad has investors watching our personal accounts. Then a screenshot from Chloe shows the family group chat I'm not part of. My post, surrounded by my father's all-caps rage and my mother's damage control suggestions. I silence the phone completely and walk to the balcony. The sunset spreads across the water in shades of gold and crimson. For the first time in years, my chest expands fully when I breathe. My laptop pings with a notification. A direct message on Instagram from Franklin Dorsey, 70 years old, my father's longest investor, a family friend who's known me since birth. Quite the statement you're making, Tessa. My stomach drops. I call him immediately, preparing for another lecture about family loyalty and discretion. Franklin, no need to explain. He interrupts, his voice warm rather than condemning. I saw your post. Then I received a rather frantic call from your father about your temporary emotional crisis. I sink onto the bed. I'm not having a crisis. I didn't think you were. A pause. I've always wondered when one of you kids would stand up to Robert. My breath catches. What? Your father didn't mention that he'd excluded you from his birthday, did he? Franklin's voice carries 50 years of boardroom negotiations. Interesting omission. You understand why I did this? Tessa, I've watched how they treat you for years. The quiet one, the afterthought. I saw more than you realize. My eyes burn with unexpected tears. The next morning, my mother's voice trembles in another voicemail. What did you say to Franklin? He's withdrawn from your father's birthday celebration and canceled our golf game. Tessa, this has gone far enough. I play the message for Jade as we drive toward Big Sur. Holy shit, she whispers. Franklin Dorsey is worth what, $500 million? Something like that. I can't help the smile that spreads across my face. My phone pings with a text from Franklin. Sometimes the quiet ones make the biggest waves. That night, I sleep dreamlessly in a cabin overlooking the Pacific, the first night in years without the weight of family anxiety pressing on my chest. When I wake, I realize I've forgotten something fundamental about waves. Once set in motion, you can't call them back to shore. Joshua Tree stretches before us like another planet-twisted trees reaching toward the cloudless sky, massive boulders stacked by some ancient giant's hand. The sun burns hot against my skin as I follow Jade across the lunar landscape, our phones locked securely in the Range Rover's glove compartment. That's perfect, Jade calls, raising her camera as I perch atop a sun-warmed boulder. Look toward the horizon, like you're contemplating your next conquest. I laugh but turn my face to the distant mountains. For the first time in my adult life, I've gone 24 hours without checking messages or worrying about family expectations. The freedom settles in my bones like a truth I've always known but never acknowledged. Think your family's lost their minds yet? Jade asks, adjusting her lens. Probably. I stretch my arms wide, embracing the vast emptiness. And I honestly don't care. The day passes in a blur of desert trails, strange vegetation, and Jade's running commentary on light conditions. We watch the sunset from Skull Rock, the desert cooling rapidly around us, before heading back to the Range Rover. Only then do I retrieve my phone. Holy. The words die in my throat as notifications flood my screen. 17 missed calls, 32 text messages, 9 voicemails. Jade peers over my shoulder, whistling low. That's what I call family panic. I scroll through the messages, my stomach tightening with each one, but not from guilt, from confirmation. Franklin pulled his investment. My voice sounds distant to my own ears as I read the business news alert. Monroe and Sons forced to shelve Riverside project. Jade starts the engine, the headlights cutting through the gathering darkness. That's the $20 million one, right? I nod, opening my voicemail. Mother's voice fills the car, her careful composure cracking around the edges. Tessa, darling, your father and I would love to have you at the party after all. We've been thinking that family should come first, especially during milestone celebrations. And that beautiful gift you mentioned, well, that would just make your father's day. Call us back, sweetheart. I delete it without responding and play Miles's message. Do you have any idea what you've done? My brother's voice shakes with fury. Franklin pulled out and took 3 other investors with him. Dad's reputation is on the line here. Whatever your tantrum is about, you need to fix this. Now. Jade shoots me a sideways glance as we wind down the mountain road. You okay? Better than okay. I silence the phone and lean back against the leather seat. I've spent my whole life being invisible to them unless they needed something. At least now they're honest about it. Back at the hotel, I find an email from Chloe with family photos attached. Christmas 5 years ago, my college graduation, a beach vacation in Galveston. All carefully selected to show happy Monroe moments, as if photographic evidence might convince me to forget decades of dismissal. Her message reads, "We've always supported you, Tess. Family sticks together, especially in hard times. Dad needs us now more than ever. Please come home." I study the photos, seeing what I couldn't before: how I'm always slightly apart from the main group, how Dad's arm never quite reaches around my shoulder, how Miles and Chloe occupy the center space in every frame. After a long shower, I craft a single response to all of them. I've already made other plans, just like you did. Then I post another photo from Tadame standing between massive boulders, looking not at the camera but toward distant mountains with a simple caption, "Finding my own path. Day 6. The supportive comments appear almost immediately. Former classmates, clients, people I barely know telling me how much they admire my journey. The irony doesn't escape me. Strangers offer more validation than my family ever has. Check this out, Jade says from her bed, laptop propped on her knees. Your gift post has gone mini viral in the design community. Some magazine editor wants to feature the Range Rover road trip as a journey of self-discovery piece. I'm about to respond when my phone chimes with a text from my building concierge in Austin. Miss Monroe, your brother and sister are here demanding access to your apartment. They claim it's a family emergency and they need to retrieve something. Security cameras show they're becoming agitated with staff. Please advise. Attached is a grainy security image of Miles gesturing angrily at the front desk, Chloe pacing behind him with phone pressed to her ear. A strange calm washes over me. 6 days ago, I would have panicked, worried about causing a scene, about staff thinking poorly of me, about family disappointment. Now I simply type, "Do not admit them under any circumstances. Please update building security protocols immediately. No family members are to be granted access without my explicit consent." I dictate a follow-up email to the building manager, authorizing a formal security note in my file. Do not admit family without consent. Setting this boundary feels like putting down a heavy suitcase I've been carrying my entire life. You should see this, Jade says, turning her laptop toward me. An article from the Austin Business Chronicle displays my father's tight-lipped expression beneath the headline. Monroe Development faces investor exodus, leadership questioned. I should feel guilty. I don't. The next morning, I find Franklin Dorsey himself waiting in the hotel lobby, his tall frame settled comfortably in a leather armchair. Quite the road trip you're having, he says, rising to greet me. How did you find me? I've been in business 40 years. He smiles, lines crinkling around his eyes. Finding people is the easy part. May I buy you breakfast? Over coffee and eggs, Franklin leans forward, lowering his voice. Pulling my investment wasn't solely because of the birthday incident. Your parents have been ignoring sound advice for years, risky acquisitions, outdated development models, refusing to address environmental concerns. I stir my coffee, watching the cream create patterns against dark liquid. Then why now? Seeing how they treated you, he shakes his head, that sealed the deal. In 40 years of business, I've learned that how people treat their family reveals how they'll treat their partners. If Robert can dismiss his own daughter so easily, what chance do the rest of us have? The validation I never received from my own family sits across from me, offered freely by this near stranger. What happens next? I ask. Franklin shrugs. That depends on your father, and on you. He slides a business card across the table. When you finish this journey of yours, call me. I think we could do some interesting work together. I tuck the card into my wallet, a small passport to possibilities I hadn't imagined a week ago. Thank you, I say, meaning it. Don't thank me yet. Franklin's eyes twinkle with something between amusement and respect. Standing up for yourself is just the beginning. The real work comes after. As he walks away, I realize I'm ready for whatever that work might be. The Range Rover hums beneath me as I cross the state line back into Texas, 10 days of California coastal highways still vivid in my rearview mirror. My hands rest easier on the steering wheel now. The tight grip I left Austin with has softened into something more certain. Almost home, I tell Jade, who's scrolling through her camera roll beside me. Look at these. She turns her display toward me at a stoplight. Side-by-side photos me on day 1 versus yesterday. Same woman, different eyes. I could build an entire exhibition around your transformation. In the first image, my smile looks borrowed, my posture a question mark. The latest shows me leaning against the Range Rover at Big Sur, looking straight into the lens, shoulders back. No apology in my stance. I hardly recognize myself, I admit. That's the point. Jade swipes through more images. The old Tessa would have delivered this car with a bow and begged for scraps of approval. The new one drove it up the Pacific Coast Highway instead. The afternoon sun glints off the dashboard as Austin's skyline materializes in the distance. The Range Rover no longer feels like a gift denied its recipient. It's mine now, earned through years of work and 10 days of courage. My apartment building appears around the corner, familiar yet somehow different. The doorman nods as I pull into my reserved spot. "Welcome back, Miss Monroe. Had some visitors while you were away." My stomach tightens as we ride the elevator to my floor. Outside my door sits an enormous basket wrapped in cellophane, trailing ribbons in the company colors. Nestled among imported chocolates and premium spirits is my father's business card. The handwriting isn't his. "Your father wanted to welcome you home," Jade reads, her voice flat. I unlock my door, leaving the basket in the hallway. My apartment feels smaller somehow, as if I've outgrown it. Sunlight streams across my design table where fabric swatches still wait in perfect fans. My answering machine blinks furiously. I press play, steeling myself. "Tessa, darling." My mother's voice fills the room. "This silent treatment has gone on long enough. Family unity is what matters most, especially now. Your father." I press delete before she can finish. Another message plays. "Miles dropped by yesterday. Fortunately, your doorman wouldn't let him up. Thought you should know. My building manager, not unkind." The third message is Chloe's friend Bethany, her voice overly casual. "Hey Tess, just checking in. Haven't heard from you in forever. Chloe mentioned you might be going through something. Coffee soon." Jade snorts. "A phase. They're telling people you're going through a phase." I delete the remaining messages and stand at my window, watching the city lights flicker on as dusk approaches. My phone lights up with a text from Franklin Dorsea linked to Texas Design Quarterly. The subject line reads, "Road Trip Revelation. Interior designer Tessa Monroe's journey of self-discovery, captured by photographer Jade Chen." "Jade," I whisper, showing her the screen. "What did you do?" She grins. "I sent a few of the best shots to my contact at the magazine. They want to run a feature." The article loads the Range Rover prominently featured against California's dramatic coastline, my transformation documented in Jade's stunning photographs. Comments are already flowing beneath the online preview. By morning, my office voicemail is full. 3 potential clients, one specifically mentioning those incredible Range Rover photos. The largest is a complete redesign of a downtown restaurant project that would double my annual revenue. I trace my finger over the contract, remembering Dad's dismissive, "little design thing" comment. My phone buzzes with news alerts, Monroe and Sons announcing project delays amid investor concerns. 2 weeks later, I'm selecting chair fabrics when my assistant knocks. "Your father is here." He stands in my reception area, hands in his pockets, looking smaller than I remember. His eyes scan my expanded office, noting the framed magazine feature and the busy design assistants. "Impressive," he says, though his tone stops short of appreciation. "You're doing well for yourself." "I am." I gesture to my office, keeping the door open. I won't be trapped in small rooms with him anymore. He lowers himself into the chair across from my desk, the rehearsed apology already forming on his lips. "I handled the birthday situation poorly. Your mother and I have discussed it." I wait, letting silence do the work. "We'd like to make amends," he continues. "Perhaps dinner next week? There are some company matters I'd like your perspective on, actually. Your connection to Franklin could help us significantly right now." There it is. Not an apology, a business transaction. "I'm not a business asset, Dad," I say quietly. "I never was." His face hardens briefly before attempting another smile. "Of course not, Tess. Family first, always." "I'm changing my phone number tomorrow." I stand. "My assistant will walk you out." That evening, I rearrange my apartment, taking down family photos and replacing them with Jade's California shots. I move furniture, creating space that reflects who I've become rather than who they wanted me to be. My grandmother's antique calendar hangs in my kitchen, November and December pages pristine. For the first time in 27 years, I won't attend the annual Monroe Christmas gathering. I sit on my balcony, the Range Rover's keys cool in my palm. The weight of them feels different now, heavier with purpose rather than expectation. Best gift I ever gave myself, I whisper to the Texas sky, no longer needing anyone to hear it but me. The society page of the Austin Business Chronicle sits on my kitchen counter, open to Robert Monroe's birthday celebration. I trace my finger over the photo father at the center, his smile not quite reaching his eyes. Mother stands beside him, her posture perfect, but her lips pressed into a tight line that anyone who knows her would recognize as strain. Miles and Chloe flank them, their smiles equally forced. The room looks half empty compared to previous Monroe celebrations. No Franklin Dorsey, no Harrington family, no Westlake developers. The caption mentions an intimate gathering of close business associates, but I know better. This was damage control. Most telling is what's missing. Any mention of me. As if the youngest Monroe child never existed. I fold the paper closed and drop it into the recycling bin. My phone buzzes with a text from Franklin. Breakfast meeting tomorrow. 8 a.m. Bringing someone you should meet. Since that first message on my road trip, Franklin has become an unexpected champion. When I returned to Austin, he invited me to lunch with the Dorseys' longtime interior designer who was retiring. 3 days later, I had 4 new clients, all Franklin's business associates. The irony isn't lost on me. For years, Father insisted I'd never succeed without the Monroe name opening doors. Now the family name was toxic in certain business circles, while my talent was speaking for itself. My design studio phone rings, pulling me from my thoughts. Monroe Interiors. Is this Tessa Monroe? A woman's voice, vaguely familiar. This is she. Tessa, this is Victoria Weldon. My breath catches. Victoria Weldon Board, member of Monroe & Sons and mother's closest friend. I've just purchased the Lakeway property and need an interior designer. Your name keeps coming up. I almost laugh. Victoria has known me since I was in diapers, yet she's speaking as if we're strangers. This is deliberated distance from the Monroe family drama while still reaching out. That's a beautiful property, I say, keeping my voice even. When would you like to meet to discuss your vision? After setting the appointment, I sit back in my chair, processing what just happened. Victoria Weldon didn't just know Father's business. She helped finance it in the early days. For her to hire me instead of the design firm Monroe & Sons has used for 20 years is nothing short of seismic. The next morning, Franklin introduces me to Elaine Hutchins, the city's premier commercial property developer. By noon, I've signed a contract to design the interiors for her new boutique hotel. Your portfolio is impressive, she says as we shake hands, though I must admit Franklin's recommendation carried weight. I appreciate that. I also appreciate someone who stands their ground, she adds, her eyes shrewd. Takes courage to walk away from family expectations. Word travels fast in Austin business circles. That evening, I scroll through Instagram, pausing at Chloe's latest post. A throwback family photo with the caption, "Family loyalty above all else, Monroe values." The comments are telling. Aren't there 3 Monroe children? Where's your sister these days? Her design work is amazing. I heard Monroe & Sons lost the Westlake contract. Chloe hasn't responded to any of them. My phone buzzes with a news alert, a business journal profile on Father. I hesitate before opening it, then read. When asked about recent changes in the company's direction, Monroe appeared defensive. We're adapting to market conditions, he stated. When pressed about family involvement, Monroe mentioned that while his son Miles continues in leadership, my daughter, the designer, has pursued other interests. This marks the first public acknowledgement of his youngest daughter, Tessa, whose interior design business has gained significant traction in recent months. I set the phone down. 3 months ago, these words would have mattered desperately. Now they feel like echoes from another life. My therapy session the next morning centers on this exact realization. The validation you sought for years came after you stopped needing it, Dr. Coleman says. How does that feel? Like waking up? I answer, surprising myself with the certainty in my voice. For so long, I thought if they'd just see me, everything would be right. Now I see that I needed to see myself first. She smiles. That's significant progress, Tessa. That evening, Jade's photo exhibition opens downtown. The road less traveled features stunning images from our impromptu California journey. The centerpiece is me standing beside the Range Rover at Big Sur, looking out at the horizon with a serene smile that hadn't appeared in photos for years before. The gallery buzzes with conversation and admiration. I'm chatting with one of Jade's photography mentors when a hush falls over one section of the room. I turn to see Mother standing alone, elegant as always in cream-colored silk, studying the photos with careful composure. Our eyes meet across the room. She moves toward me, and the crowd parts slightly. Your friend is quite talented, she says, her voice lower than usual. These are beautiful. Yes, she is. Thank you for coming. An awkward silence stretches between us. For once, Mother seems uncertain. Your new studio, she finally says. I drove by yesterday. The building is lovely. We've expanded. 3 new designers on staff now. She nods, her eyes darting to the photograph of me at Big Sur. You look happy, there. Something in her voice cracks. Just slightly. I made a mistake, Tessa. The words come out so quietly I almost miss them. We were wrong about you. The admission I'd waited for all my life. Yet instead of triumph, I feel a strange, gentle sadness. I'm not looking for apologies, Mother. I meet her eyes directly. I'm living my truth now. She blinks rapidly, her composure wavering. Her hand reaches toward mine, then stops, uncertain of its welcome. I don't take it, but I don't step away either. Some distances can't be crossed in a single conversation. Around us, the gallery continues to hum with life and art and possibilities, none of which require the approval I once thought essential to breathe. The Range Rover's engine purrs as I navigate downtown Austin traffic. A year has passed since I claimed my father's gift for myself, and the leather seats have molded to my body like they were always meant for me. I park in front of my design studio, Tessa Monroe Design, the gold lettering on frosted glass making me smile. Inside, 4 designers huddle around a table of fabric samples, arguing over complementary textures for the Westlake Hills project. My team, my vision, my success. The client specifically requested warmth, says Danny, my newest hire. These cool tones won't deliver. Then we need to show both options, I say, placing my portfolio on the conference table. Let them see the contrast. The morning flies by in client calls and material selections. At lunch, I flip through the advance copy of Roads Less Traveled, the coffee table book Jade and I collaborated on. Her stunning photographs of our California journey, paired with my reflections on finding your own path. The publisher expects it to sell well, something neither of us anticipated when we left Austin that sunrise morning a year ago. My phone buzzes with Chloe's weekly text. Since quitting Monroe & Sons 6 months ago to start her own marketing firm, she's become almost like a real sister. Her message asks if I'm free for lunch next Tuesday. I tap back a quick yes. Mom calls every other Sunday now, a boundary we established after 3 tense coffee meetings. She respects my terms. Dad's name rarely crosses her lips, and I never ask. The company he dedicated his life to is now simply Monroe Development. No more and Sons. The irony isn't lost on me. At 3 o'clock, I drive to the Dorsey Foundation headquarters. Franklin's retirement party starts at 5, but as guest speaker, I arrive early. The Range Rover gets prime parking, right by the entrance where everyone will see it. No longer a symbol of rejection, It's become my signature, the car that launched a journey. There she is, Franklin says, pulling me into a gentle hug. At 71, his eyes still sparkle with mischief. Ready to make them all cry? I pat the speech in my pocket, just ready to honor the man who saw my potential. The ballroom fills with Austin's business elite. I spot Miles across the room, looking uncomfortable in his startup's casual blazer. We exchange small nods. Progress of a sort. Later, standing at the podium, I survey the crowd of people who once slipped past me at family gatherings. Authentic relationships build better businesses. I begin. Franklin taught me that. He also taught me that respect earned through talent outlasts respect demanded through intimidation. The audience nods. Many of them now my clients. Back in my office after the party, I hang the first photo from our road trip, the Range Rover, beside that Carmel by the Sea lookout, the Pacific stretching beyond. Beside it hangs the framed brochure for my new mentorship program for young designers. 10 spots, fully funded. My way of passing forward what Franklin gave me. The next morning, I drive through the Texas Hill Country, windows down. Springtime wildflowers carpet the roadside. My phone rings through the car speaker. Miss Monroe, this is Alyssa Baker. From your mentorship program, I just wanted to say thank you again for the opportunity. Nobody's ever believed in me like this. My smile feels light, unburdened. We all need someone to believe in us, Alyssa. The open road stretches before me, mine to explore at my own pace, in my own direction, just as it should be.